Story 1. I moved to a new country and have been working for a year now. I don't have any friends here. I have colleagues that I really like, but because of the age difference between us, we can never connect at the same level. So, what I've been doing for the past year is continuously inventing new hobbies for myself. When I start hesitating about whether I should work on the hobby tonight, it's at the end of its life cycle. Time to get a new hobby. And when you have 7 to 8 different hobbies that you enjoy, you start cycling them. I couldn't connect with my colleagues because of the differences in interests in life. It's perfectly normal to have older friends. My hobbies are mostly video gaming, sound engineering and music production, graphic design, game development, electronic sports, fish keeping, personal computer building, and instruments. There are more things that I work on, but those are the active ones nowadays. Right now, I'm getting into archery. It's the newest hobby. Story 2. I'm not good at making friends. I took an interest in karate about 2 to 3 years ago at a local place and didn't make any friends outside of karate. 1.5 months ago, my closest and best friend died. I had known him for about 10 years. A couple of years ago, I lost a cousin to suicide, who had been my closest and best friend for a long time, and we played together almost every day. Now, I usually play single-player games or online games alone. At least in online games, I don't feel so alone when other players are around me, but I prefer single-player games because some content needs a team, like raids in Destiny 2. Also, going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week has been great for my mental health. Story 3. My boyfriend really doesn't have friends. He seems okay, but what I found helped him in the past was joining a team or doing a class outside of work just to get social interaction with others. He did volleyball, a marathon, and cooking classes. I'm not sure what your interests are, but doing a random class here and there could help. Story 4. Hobbies. Also, I glue googly eyes on a lot of my workbench tools. There are pictures there, and whoever gave me a gold award, thank you very much. Story 5. By making friends with people when I need to. For me, it's not about going out and making as many friends as possible. For me, if I just click with someone, then I consider them my friend and will more than likely want to spend more time talking to them. No point in forcing yourself on people if there is no spark. But I also know what I like to do and what I want from a friendship. Story 6. Creating hobbies, working out, and making a to-do list, etc. I make sure there's always something for me to do. When there's not, I relax, play video games, and contact a few women to practice socializing. Story 7. You just have to accept that is how things are. I'm almost 40, and I've never had a friend in my life. I spent most of those years trying to make friends. I finally had to tell myself that no matter what I did, friendship wasn't happening. It didn't matter how I acted or looked or what I did, I would never have a friend. I'm just not the kind of person anyone wants to be around. I think the harder I tried to change, the harder I tried to be the kind of person that people would want as a friend, the more they could tell I was a fraud. For some people, wanting friends is the same thing as wanting a rock to be an airplane. You can try to put wings on it, but it just isn't going to fly. Does realizing I'll never have a friend make me happy? No, of course not. It's painful as hell. But at least I don't lie awake at night wondering why no one likes me. I don't rehearse conversations just so I know how to talk to people. I don't have to be on for people or do favors for people who are really just taking advantage of me. It's like life is a series of struggles. Finding a job, paying your bills, and so on. Seeing that I'll never have a friend means I no longer have to struggle to get a friend, and that has brought me some peace. Story 8. Honestly, I am kind of fine with it. I have a couple of friends that I can text or hang out with sometimes, but no super close ones. I am pretty introverted, so it is nice to have the freedom and fewer commitments. Instead, I listen to music, play my drums, and go for walks or skates to stay busy. Story 9. The way I deal: weed, sad music, video games, occasional nature outings. The way I should deal: staying in touch with old friends, going out with coworkers, socializing with roommates, one of whom is my childhood best friend. Unfortunately, the coronavirus has complicated things. Story 10. I am an extremely social person. I got married and we had a child a couple of years ago. Obviously, I wasn't able to spend as much time as I used to with friends, and they all decided to exclude me from the circle of friends. First, it was difficult. But as time went on, I learned three things. First, they obviously were not good friends and I was better off without them. Second, I am able to move on and make new friends. Third, I am capable of doing more with my life. The third one was significant because I never realized just how much certain obligations held me back on a personal and professional level. Since then, I have pursued better job opportunities and achieved them. I have started a side business that could one day be my primary source of income, doing things I enjoy. Because of this, I learned that as much as I missed my friends, there are just things you can't learn when you are constantly surrounded by elements that don't help you move forward in life. Find something that you are passionate about, pursue it, and as you become happier with yourself, you will naturally attract people with common interests who will want to create friendships and relationships with you. Story 11. Easily. I don't like most people, so it works well. I borrowed this quote from somewhere. I only feel alone when I am with other people. I smoke a lot and read a lot. I listen to a lot of music. I could always get lost in my own head. Story 12. I've never really had a best friend. After my relationship of 8 years ended and he left with all our friends, I had a few bad years. As weird as this may sound, I actually followed a friend's advice and downloaded an application that connects people based on hobbies and such. People meet up at local karaoke bars or whatever you may be interested in. I've met a few good people that I see regularly from that app, but my fiancée is my best friend. Story 13. When I was a kid, I lived in the middle of nowhere in a foreign country. There was no phone signal, no internet, and no friends living nearby for about a decade. It wasn't fun, but I used the time I had to develop skills I wanted, such as art, music, and writing. Pick up some hobbies and keep yourself motivated. These hobbies and interests will make it easier to make friends when you get the chance, as you'll have more to talk about and come across as a proactive and interesting person. Story 14. It's simple. You get fed up with so-called friends mistreating you and say enough is enough. I would rather not have any than put up with that kind of childish, thoughtless behavior, so I decided I don't want any. Story 15. The only constant in life is change. No matter where you begin in life, it will be different eventually. I'm 39, and I would say that until I was in high school, I didn't have any friends. I couldn't relate to the kids my age, to the extent that when a kid on the bus was willing to be my secret friend, I ran all the way home to tell my mom about it. So I was incredibly lonely as a child. My friends were my books, my parents, and myself. These are not actual friends. They aren't a replacement for other people to share your ideas with, to find value in who you are while appreciating each other's differences. They also do not challenge you with a different perspective, force you to compromise if you want to continue to be in that relationship, and essentially require each other to accommodate each other's disabilities and limitations. All relationships are complicated in this way. Friends are both wonderful and a source of stress. Now that I am older, I have many friends I have accumulated along the way. Some of these friends I am closer to than others. But being in quarantine, I find myself grateful for the limited interactions possible. I like being with myself and just myself. And I am married, so I also enjoy being with my wife, and I cannot say that I am alone in quarantine. But I have been alone and withdrawn from folks most of my life for my own comfort, even though when put around people many would call me an extrovert. I have always been friendly, but I have never needed companionship to chase away loneliness. Loneliness as an emotion is simply being sad that it is just you and your thoughts. But it is always just you and your thoughts, even when other people are around. You experience the world through your thoughts, and in this way you experience other people through your thoughts. Your thoughts should feel comfortable and safe. So why should you feel sad to be alone with them? My guess is because you aren't paying close attention to your thoughts, and so you aren't realizing that your thoughts are focusing on problems rather than solutions. Loneliness, like boredom, is a problem. It is the feeling you have when you don't have what you want, which is another feeling. Feeling bad about not feeling good should be as simple as finding a good feeling that is true and real right now. You don't need a person to change your feelings because your feelings are simply the story your brain has told about your circumstances. You feel sad that you are alone with your thoughts. Okay, You can either find someone to share your thoughts with, or you can investigate why your thoughts are not a source of happiness and contentment. People will come and go, but you will always have to deal with your thoughts. What's more, your thoughts are what you share with other people. If you cannot appreciate how your thoughts are related to your feelings, consider how the lack of other people's thoughts results in your current feeling of loneliness. Because you could go to a gas station, not talk to anyone, and still feel lonely. You could have someone say they are your friend and still feel lonely. A friendship is a relationship, and a relationship isn't something you are in. Something you do. The work and process of relating. And all your relationships are reflections of the most important relationship you can have. Your relationship with yourself. How can you be friendless if a friendship is a relationship and a relationship is work? Do you not do the work of being a friend to yourself? Do you listen to yourself when you feel bad and offer advice and consolation? Or do you criticize yourself for your mistakes and limitations? Do you pay attention to your mood and try to make yourself feel better because you deserve better than to stay sad? Or do you just let yourself stay focused on feeling bad, even though you could try and distract yourself with something that is healthier for you? Do you encourage or insult yourself in times of joy and times of stress? You don't deal with loneliness because loneliness isn't a problem. It is a symptom. The problem is that you are uncomfortable with your own thoughts and feelings. Your idea about where your thoughts and feelings come from puts other people in charge of them rather than yourself. You have given up the idea that it is possible to feel different than you do without outside intervention. But the truth is that the joy you feel from companionship doesn't come from others. It comes from you. Other people don't put it in you. It is always there, even when they aren't. But because other people can distract us, it is a great way to escape the thoughts and feelings we have yet to fully understand as separate from our reality. How do you deal with loneliness? Become the best friend you always wanted for yourself, and start by listening to what you have been saying about yourself. Is it true and kind? Story 16. By making some friends, I have to start again now that I've gotten clean. I need a whole new set of friends, so I'm deciding which interests and communities are best to get more active in to meet people. Story 17. I read something cool today. Everyone is shy. Other people are waiting for you to introduce yourself to them. They are waiting for you to send them an email. They are waiting for you to ask them on a date. Go ahead. Story 18. I tread water through life pretending I'm happy and everything is okay. I'm an island who doesn't need friends or a support network, safe in the knowledge that the sweet, sweet release of death can come knocking any moment. Story 19. I talk to strangers on Reddit mostly about lightsabers, sometimes about politics, and sometimes to chime in on things like this, but yeah, mostly about lightsabers. Story 20. By not being afraid to take part or talk about my likes and interests and just talking with strangers, colleagues, and others who are into or doing the same thing, I find a way forward. As an introvert, I do find it particularly exhausting, but I try to push past it, as the time spent together with those individuals is worth it. You must also be honest with yourself if this person is not a good fit. I also accept the fact that those people occupy a specific point on my relationships mountain, and if they are going to move past that point, it will require significant work from both of us, and they may not see me on the same level that I see them. Recognizing that I need to be mindful of my expectations and match the pace of friendship development with them has led me to a much richer social life. Am I ever going to be a social darling with countless friends and acquaintances? No. But that does not prevent me from having good connections and spending time with others who care more than just a passing friend. Story 21. I have one friend I talk to daily that I found on here while looking for help to speak Swedish. Where I live, in the United Kingdom, the only friends I have are my wife and kids. I have been in the same house for over 15 years. Not sure if that's a record or just sad. Laugh out loud. Story 22. See a therapist and learn to be emotionally vulnerable and how to interact in a healthy and emotionally intimate manner. It's nice having friends, and we are all capable and deserving of them. Story 23. A good few acquaintances, but not anybody I would call a friend. I just fill the space with gym, games, and the internet. I'm an introvert, so most of the time I am okay with my own company and space, especially during the week after work when I have had my fill of people. Not gonna lie, though, Fridays and weekends get difficult as I would like to have someone to just call up for a beer or something. Story 24, Hobbies. Better yourself. Is lonely, but when you start showing other people things you made or do, they want to hang out with you. Don't rely on others for happiness. That's a surefire road to depression.